everyone. Welcome back to the Chamber Connection podcast. Today, Steve and I explore a crucial topic for every chamber, non-dues revenue. Join us as we look into how to effectively collaborate with your chamber's plan insurance partner to drive success for your chamber. We're joined today by Fournier, President and CEO of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, Nyla Frank-Rodgers, the Executive Director of the Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce, and rounding out our panel is Doug Hynek with 18 years of expertise in employee benefits and the Chamber Plan Insurance Program. This is a great episode that you don't want to miss. There's some awesome nuggets that you can use right away. Settle in and grab your pen. Hi, everyone. It's Melanie here with the Chamber Connection. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with my podcast co-host, Steve Chikota from the Parkland Chamber of Commerce in Dauphin, Manitoba. And we have a supersized chamber podcast coming to you today. So we have three really awesome and interesting people that we're going to talk to today. I'll give you a brief intro to each of them. So first off, I want to say hi to Fournier, who is my colleague here in the Halton region. So Franz is president and CEO, and I think you've been in the chamber community for over 13 years now as board member, staff member, now president and CEO, so you've seen it all. You're also the chair of Home Sweet Hope for the board of directors there. And you know, what I see it here in Halton is that your leadership has really been focused on business growth and fostering that economic resilience and the community connection with your members. So welcome, Franz. Great to have you.
Thank you.
And we also have Nyla Frank-Rodgers with us today. Nyla, thanks for joining us. Nyla is the executive director of the Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce out in Nova Scotia. She's been in that role for 2 years, but also served in the operations and membership role for 5 years. So she's been down in the trenches. She understands what's going on in the chamber world. And she has a really strong commitment to supporting business and community development in her neck of the woods. And then we have a different flavor today. So Doug Hynek is not a chamber leader in the sense that he doesn't work for a chamber of commerce, but he is certainly a leader in the chamber world. So he brings to us 18 years of experience in advocating and amplifying the chamber plan for our local chamber and board of trade partners. He's a principal at HFGB, offering specialized assistance and advice in employee benefits and wellness as an exclusive partner for the Chamber Plan and Johnston Group. So welcome to all three of you. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. I'll just kick things off. Nyla, I want to hear about your chamber and your role. How is your chamber? How are you going after these non-dues revenues when it comes to the group plan?
Yeah, so we're really kind of in a unique situation. So like you indicated, I'm new-ish into the executive director role, but really we took the pandemic and completely flipped our chamber over and said, okay, what matters most to our membership? Pre-pandemic, we weren't endorsing the chamber's plan. We were endorsing another plan locally in our community. And so we really surveyed members and said, what is it that, you need for a health plan? And then the chamber's plan really checked all the boxes for our primarily small to micro businesses. So we reinvested into the chamber's plan. Wasn't a hard sell to our board because it really did check all the boxes. And so we've been kind of able to leverage that into some sustainable revenue for our chamber, particularly in that non-dues revenue, which we know can be, so beneficial to do a lot of other things for our community. So we are so glad to jump back on board with the chamber's plan and really bring what was needed for our community and our members.
Nyla, how big is your chamber?
Yeah, so we have 350 members. So we have a huge geographical area, but not necessarily a large chamber by any means. But yeah.
And how many members approximately would you say plug into the chamber's program?
Yeah, we have 25% of our membership is on the chamber's plan.
Wow, good for you. And would you say that you work closely with your advisor in your neighborhood?
Yeah, absolutely. So it did. Obviously, I'm kind of new to the relationship with our advisors here because it's only been we rejoined in 2021, so it's only been a few years. I mean, now that it's 2024, that sounds like it was far away, but really, it seems still very new. But yeah, we're really close with our advisors. We meet with them on a quarterly basis. They come to our AGM. We're constantly sending referrals. We're close. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
Franz, I'll ask you too, like where's your chamber at in terms of size and maybe penetration rate with the chamber group insurance plan with your membership?
So we have about just under 900 members, and I would say that our penetration is about 20%. So I would say that about 15% of our membership doesn't really fit into the ideal clientele. So they're larger multinational corporations. So I was very lucky that I inherited an already fabulous relationship with the Hynek Group and a great base to build on the chamber plan. Last year, I gave our membership team a challenge of how many new referrals we wanted to see come in, and referrals and closed business. And I'm happy to say that with the help of Doug's team, we beat that number. We continue to do well this year. For me, it's just a win-win situation, providing great services to our members, and at a cost that is in the marketplace that is hard to beat. We use the program ourselves, so it's an easy sell when we're talking to members to say that the chamber itself uses the plan. So it's a very important piece to our financial stability.
Yeah. So Franz, what would you say? So if you've got a chamber leader, let's say, that's listening to this and they're not plugged into the chamber's plan, what would you say to them to give them the impetus to start? What are you able to use your funds for? How does it help you run your chamber?
Well, it is a very important part of our operating budget that I rely on month over month to run the chamber. It helps with retention of members as well. So, if I was to talk to another chamber, colleague, I would say that creating a relationship with your local advisor, and certainly all of the support that the Johnston Group gives you, really provides you with an opportunity to open up a solid revenue stream. I don't know what I'd do without that revenue stream. We wouldn't be able to operate as we do.
Yeah. Doug, I'd love to hear your perspective from the other side of the table, right? So you already know how great the program is. So can you maybe give us some insight as to, what makes it, who's your ideal client? So if, we're pressing start, who should we be referring to the chamber's plan?
Well, that's a good question. I think, the great thing about benefits is that every company really is a potential client. And the great thing about the chamber plan, particularly, is that it's a fit for large companies and it's a fit for small companies. And it was started at a time when benefit plans didn't really exist for small, medium-sized business, like back in the late 70s, early 80s. And benefit plans are hard to do for small, medium-sized companies based on how the risk management works and how claims work with the number of employees. And so by combining all these thousands of companies, like over 30,000 companies together, it's the largest plan in Canada by number of companies, really works effectively. And so, the ideal customer is anyone really that's interested in benefits, that's interested in attracting and retaining employees. If they're a one-person business, they can access a really great plan that includes options for a healthcare spending account, which is very popular for companies now. And if they're a larger company, particularly if they have an existing benefit plan, I would say that's really a potential great fit because they already know what benefit plans are about. And if they have a renewal from a competing company, usually it's going to be a lot more expensive than the chamber plan, can accommodate in terms of the rates, just based on how the plan works. And so I would think companies that currently have benefits, but ultimately, any company that's interested in attracting and retaining their talent, which has never been harder, based on what our clients are telling us.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to you, Nyla, because maybe your chamber is a very great example. There's maybe some chambers out there that aren't, promoting the group plan like they should be or can be. And your board, your staff, you guys saw that low-hanging fruit kind of when it comes to a resource for the network that benefits your members, but also as a non-dues revenue. What did you do to like endorse that? What are some ways that you've like went to push the group plan into the membership, and how did you change your language and maybe some resources at the there for you?
Yeah, so we definitely tapped into all of the great resources with the Chamber's plan in Johnson, and for marketing materials. And we really just got out and talked to members and communicated that this was, this was a plan that really checks a lot of boxes that they need. And we were unique in kind of having, our chamber endorsed it prior years before. So we did already have some members that were on it. So we weren't starting from ground zero. But it was a good kind of starting point to then say, okay, look, like France, we jumped on, our staff's on the chamber's plan as well, and really, communicated how important that is, and using language like, this being on the chamber's plan is giving admin fees back to the chamber, which allows us to do kind of that mission-driven work that is not, just doing events, because we were totally in an event spiral, and then the pandemic happened, and we needed to be so much more agile when it came to advocacy, and we weren't. Like, we were stuck in this event, revenue, needing to do more events, and throughout the pandemic, we couldn't do events. Like, we weren't making any money off of sponsorships. So really leaning into the chamber's plan allowed us, for that revenue stability, and it helped sustain us throughout it, really. And that was communicated to our members, like, this is going to keep us afloat here, and this is this is good for our community overall.
I love that you don't hide the fact that there's a referral fee, because I think there is an instinct to take that out of the equation, right? So that you're offering a service rather than a benefit back to the chamber. So do you have conversations like that where people kind of ask, like, what's in it for the chamber?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we say, look, like, this is the type of, the non-dues revenue that will allow us to do other programming. We're not chasing sponsorship to do this. We have a really small team. It's myself and one other person. So if we're not constantly hustling for sponsorship dollars, we can do events for free that then ultimately benefit our community, right? So we use it as, we say it's that. When we signed back on, we had a sum of admin fees that were sitting there, because our chamber had sponsored it or endorsed it in the past. And we were able to use those admin fees and build a co-working space for our community. So we have boardroom space that's available to the community. I'm sitting in our swanky co-working space right now, but we market that as, and we say that was sponsored by the chamber's plan, because it really was. So it allows us to do other things, and we use that in a communication tool to say, okay, look, this allows us to do these things for our community, and our members. So, not all the members can pay $100 to go to an awards event, but we can do programming that may benefit them in other ways.
Super smart.
Yeah, spinning it a little bit, like where you're able to do more and you're able to have things to offer your members, or not rely on them. You're like, the group plan picked this up. You guys didn't have to do this. And
yeah, love that. France, what about you? So coming, you've got a wide variety of industries in your area. So I love the challenge you gave to your staff. I think that's so cool. So I have some questions about that. So how did you track the conversion from the referral to a completed sale, I guess, for lack of a better word, a relationship? And do you have an idea of how long people stay with you once they're on the chamber's plan? And sorry, one more question. I know I'm throwing three of you at once, but did you compensate your staff? Like, was there a bonus involved? So maybe give us an idea of how we can enact that at our own chambers.
Yeah, so Well, now I'm on the Johnston Group site,
Yeah,
and
me too. Yeah.
so excited. It's
So good.
fabulous. But we tracked it through an Excel sheet. You know, our relationship with Hynek, we consider them an extension of our team. And, you know, we have a very close relationship with them. We had name badges done up for them that, you know, or they've got, you know, both the chamber and the Hynek logo. So when they come to our events, they've got these name badges that really show our membership that this is a very close relationship, and it's an extension of the services that we provide to the membership. But in terms of the challenge that I gave the membership team, I mean, we tracked it through an Excel sheet, and I could see when you know, the membership team communicates quite regularly with Doug's team. I mean, Doug and I get together, you know, throughout the year, but I know that his team and my team talk a lot, and would follow up with the referrals and so on. And at the end of the year, I just took a tally of what was referred and what sales were closed. And, you know, Doug shares with me that some runway is longer than others.
Yeah.
But we had a really successful year, and I'm now at a recent chamber call that we had with the Ontario, my Ontario colleagues in London. They did a specific push to medium, large size businesses. So I'm not counting the multinationals. And so we're about to do that push as well, because, you know, I have members that have been on the chamber plan for 30 years. I have members who that's all they're a member for, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. You know, that's what their membership is for, and it's just one of the benefits that we offer. You know, out of our membership, I've got maybe, you know, 10 or 15% of the membership that come out to all the networking events. You know, they're the serial networkers. And then I've got, you know, probably 25% that are members because of the group insurance plan. I've got, you know, the multinationals who are, it's a CSR thing. So people join the chamber for all kinds of different reasons. And if you've joined the chamber just to access the group benefits plan, I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And any chamber out there probably has quite a few members that are just like that as well. And that's, yeah, I guess that it is what it is. Like that's quite all right.
Yeah, and what I really love is we actually had a longtime member retire, and they were able to roll over their benefits plan to the, I don't know the proper name, Doug, but to the retiree program. And holy cow, what a fabulous, you know, so they no longer need to keep membership with us, but what a great advocate. You know, when I talk to chamber members to say, especially for, you know, smaller entrepreneurs, don't worry in retirement, this plan's got you.
Yeah. Love that.
Doug, a question for you, because you're going to know the inside scoops of all of this, and or hopefully you do, because I'm going to hit you with it. So, being the guy on the inside, working with the plan and stuff like that, what are some things that maybe chambers are doing in relation to the advisor? What are the star chambers and advisors? What are they doing to make magic happen? Where maybe some relationships aren't quite there, or maybe where's the disconnect, and what's working, and why is there disconnect with maybe some others?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's a lot to the answer. I think that there's many parts and moving parts to the relationship and the overall dynamics that go into making it successful. Part of it is, I think, just quality, dedicated people on both sides that want to make it work. And so our partner in Oakville France and her team are amazing to work with, and they understand the plan. And a lot of that has to do with our ongoing and regular communication. I think it's important that the local chamber believes in the solution. You could have and understands it enough to believe in the solution, because the solution itself is an amazing solution for companies. Like it's much different than other benefit options in the marketplace. Like it really is a better solution for companies that allows companies to have a sustainable, stable benefit solution on a long-term basis that includes incredible wellness features and virtual medicine features and things that other plans don't have, and that's important. But what makes the partnership work, I think, is ongoing communication, having a process that's documented and well set up so that both sides know what to expect and when to expect it. Such as, we're from our side, like from the HFGB side, we are marketing in this fashion throughout the year on our side. That ties into your marketing in a certain way. There's chemistry there, making sure the referral relationship works. And then beyond that, there's, from our perspective, being considerate of our local brand. So we have the plan itself, and we have the Johnson Group, which is national, connects into the local chamber. But we have our own local company as well. And I think it's important that, we're doing everything that we can to be visible, to be professional. So we'll sponsor certain events. We sponsor local charities. And the reason for that is so that we're connecting well, on a professional level with the local chamber, so that everything else just, comes together. So, yeah, I think the referrals are also very important. To France's point on marketing to, medium-sized companies, and to your initial question on what is a good target company for us, it's the medium-sized companies will create greater growth and faster growth if you're talking about revenue, which I think is obviously an important question for being in the chamber world. Like how can you grow the plan faster? How can you grow your fees faster? And medium-sized companies are a good fit for that. And so I think having a good referral strategic plan and looking at it regularly, how can you grow effectively? And there's certain things that you can do. And I think having a solution and a strategy to build an ongoing pipeline is very important. Leads can take, some leads close really quickly, and some leads can take a year. There's lots of factors that go into how fast or slow a company will get onto the plan once the initial contact is made. And so having a robust pipeline, I think, of leads and opportunities, I think, is really important. And that's why it's an ongoing process, if all that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to toss this
If I
out.
can add something here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I want to say that you can't take the relationship for granted. It's as much, we own this relationship as much as Doug and his team own the relationship. And so we have work to do, they have work to do, and it's through that communication. We do new member orientations, and Doug is very generous to support that. But that's his event. They own it. We do it jointly together, and then Doug does a joint business after hours where they donate to charity. So and when they've won prizes, I plastered that all over our social media and mentioned it at events, because it builds credibility to Doug. What Doug was saying, the Johnston Group is just one part of his business. It's not the whole business. And so we need to recognize that from the chamber. I have heard throughout the years, well, how do I get my rep to respond to me? Well, it's a two-way street, and I think that having those conversations, and I as I said, I'm extremely lucky because I inherited such a great program that had a really good base, and once you have that, you can build on it. I'm so impressed with Nyla, who started from a very small base and built it up.
Yeah, no kidding. So Nyla, it's interesting. So coming at it from maybe some fresher eyes, But I'm interested to see it with a smaller chamber team, how you divvy up the whole trying to recruit members, either current members or members that come on because of the chamber's plan. What is your relationship like with your advisor? Is this part of your onboarding process with your new members? Can you maybe, pretend we are brand new and how you would walk a new member through that?
Sure, yeah. So we definitely communicate with any prospective member and every new member. So they get kind of an information session that has all of that information. All new members immediately get sent to our advisor so that they have their contact as well. We do kind of a soft introduction. And just say they're new to the chamber, and maybe walk them through this benefit. We look at growth opportunities since we're so new to it as well, and we've been planning for this year just to start those kind of like member one-on-one sessions with a smaller team for all new members that come in, and having our advisor a part of that as well. I think that's a great takeaway from Franz and Doug as something that we could implement, because we are still learning here too. But yeah, we make sure that they're, anytime we're talking with any prospective members or new members, that the chamber's plan is right in the forefront. We do know, that with that added admin fee, it's advantageous for us to get them on the health plan as well, because it is just going to boost kind of the reward for us in a way. So it's definitely, we're aiding in sales on that. Yeah, that answered the question.
I'm so curious, has anyone, Doug, have you seen this, or Franz maybe? Because we've certainly had this. We've had, other members that are in the insurance business, not so happy that we're promoting another program. And, I'll always talk about the benefits, much like Nyla does, back to the chamber. And so that they want to offer something similar. And as we all know, it can't be, right? It doesn't have the tenure, it doesn't have the structure. So what do we say to those people? How do we defend promoting one member over another? Doug, I'm curious what you would say as a member, right? Because
I understand the question. It's a good one. I think it has to do with the legacy and the timing of the plan to begin with. If the plan didn't exist, the best thing for the benefits industry or the benefits environment from a market perspective would be to create it. Combining companies together for the purpose of providing an amazing solution that's stable and provides great benefits is the best way to do benefits for small, medium-sized companies. And creating a pool like that is virtually impossible. The only way to do it is to have years and years of history. And so the plan, again, started, in the late 1970s, 80s, building, and now has, again, like over 30,000 companies, that is part of this pool. And that is impossible to replicate otherwise. Yeah. You can't sort of invent a solution and say, well, I have a chamber plan alternative for you. It's just not going to be the same. Right. It's not going to create the same result. And ultimately too, the Johnston Group, which is the partner that you all know that ultimately runs the plan, that is the plan administrator, is amazing at what they do. The largest benefits administration company in the country. The My Benefits platform is sensational. They're very invested in the plan. And so I think it's very unique because of that. It has obviously all the right endorsements. It has, done all the due diligence, and that's, from a national perspective, very important. There's lots that goes into all of that in order to make that work, and just trying to replicate that otherwise would be, not possible to do. So it's a good question. Like people, I understand why that question might come up, but the answer is, I think, ultimately that the history of it makes it unique.
Yeah, I kind of, I've only honestly had that maybe once or twice, and I explained that, that the Hynek Group is our representative, but the plan is the Johnston Group plan that, that, as Doug said, is not easy to replicate, and it's kind of unique, not-for-profit plan for group benefits that really does not exist outside of that marketplace.
Yeah.
And then whenever I get, and I've gotten a couple in the last few months, somebody pitching me for benefits, I always send it to Doug, and I'm like, oh, look what just dropped into my inbox.
Yeah,
so
it's funny how that's happened in the past few months. There are companies out there that are trying to mimic the plan language because it's appealing, which is pooling and strength in numbers, and but there's only one version of the chamber plan. It is the chamber plan, although some companies will try to pretend that they have a version of it, but it's simply not the same.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm quite open. We get a 5-figure number every month from the chamber plan, and I'm not interested in talking to anybody unless they're going to give me 5 figures every month.
You can buy their way in, right? There is that option. Yeah.
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 But you know what I want to say to that though, sorry, Steve, is that, I know we all joke about the referral fees and how instrumental they are and we love getting that money. But it really is a great plan. And when you get down to bare bones, that we are here to support members and in running their businesses and helping them access resources that they may not be able to resource otherwise. That's the power of our community. That's the power of being a chamber member. So I think, we have to, not be ashamed of the fact that, our efforts are supported by it. So.
Yeah, I mean, the ARET services, when I tell, especially a smaller company, that they have access to HR advice or legal advice or accounting advice, they're like, I do? I'm like, yeah, you do. Here's the information. Teledoc, pocket pills, it truly is an incredible plan. It's really easy to sell. We were touring a fairly large manufacturing plant in Oakville yesterday. They're not members yet. We're hoping they're going to be members. While their operation is large, they've automated a lot, so their staff has decreased. And the whole time I'm walking through this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a perfect referral for Doug. And
Doug's so happy.
So we were, I didn't want to bombard him with too much stuff. So we fed him a little bit of stuff yesterday, and we're going to follow up with some more. But that would be a great member to get and a great referral for Doug and his team.
Nice. Well done. Yeah, you got to keep out and hit the pavement and always watch out for those prospects and whatnot. Curious about, maybe I'll go to Nyla on this one. When it comes to referrals and you're passing info off to your advisor, is there something built in your strat plan, whether that's internal or for the entire chamber? And is your board involved with all of that? And are they funneling things to you, to your advisor? Is the whole team involved on this thing, or how is that structured when you're trying to build that relationship with your advisor and push referrals?
Yeah, whole team's not, but it should be. So I'll be taking this back. It's not currently how it usually is. It's just a quick email to our advisor that we have somebody that's reached out or somebody in mind that we've been speaking with. Am happy to see and get on to the chamber portal. That platform is great for Chamber's plan. So we'll be submitting people through there. But we do talk about the Chamber's plan at board meetings. We give updates on where we are, if there's growth in the plan from month over, that type of thing. But that's a great opportunity to have our board engaged in it. We don't really have it built into our strat plan as it stands right now, but there's just so much growth opportunity, and it's definitely things that we'll be leaning in on it a lot more heavily into the near future.
That's a good idea to track it monthly. So,
it's so cool.
Report. Yeah. What a great, I'm making a note. Good idea, Nyla. Love it.
Hans, how is it all integrated with your organization? Is your board on top of everything as well? Are they charged with finding, members or non-members that could probably benefit from the plan?
No, the board is involved in the sense that it's part of the chamber plan is part of the board orientation. And Doug does come to present to the board. I don't think we do it yearly, Doug, but close to yearly. But I don't. In Oakville, we don't lean on the board. You have to refer 3, 4, whatever members. I mean, certainly they are good at doing that organically. And they see it too in the financials, how important the plan is to us. I know that one of our board members, after the board orientation, and we went through the chamber plan, he went back to his office and called Hynek and signed up right away. And so it's really, the plan, in my view, sells itself. And we just talk about it all the time within the team. I talk about it with the team, how important it is for us. But as I said before, I also talk about how important it is for us to support Doug's team. It's not all up to Doug's team. We have to support that as well. And, so that's by doing the referrals, talking about the chamber plan all the time to members, highlighting Doug's team and what they do in the community. And, so it's really a partnership.
Doug, does your team come out to the events? So do they come to the business after hours and, are they, at the golf tournament?
Yes. I think it's obviously a very important part of the partnership that advisors attend events. I know that the chamber's events are a big deal, and it's a great opportunity to network and ultimately meet other business owners and decision makers. And I think it's important. It's important for me to say that I have a great team as well. It's not just me. I have a team of 10 and a great advisor team and a customer support team, and we actually have a system here for figuring out who's going to attend what event. And so that we mix it up a little bit. There's a variety in what we're attending, and we would attend virtually every after hours and a major event. And I try to go to the more interesting events, just because I like to hear some of the great speakers that in this case Oakville has that come, economic speakers and political speakers, and I find those really interesting as well. So in addition to that, of course, we sponsor and attend the member orientation, which I think is a great opportunity to talk to and get in front of new members, because they're signing up for the first time and they're interested in all things chamber, and we get to ultimately present the plan to, say, 50 people or more than that often. So I think from making any recommendations to other advisors, it would be certainly be present at events, but try to be strategic in how you also get involved in other things. You can get in front of the right clients and the right members.
We have an ambassador program where we have members sign up as ambassadors, and they come out with us to visit current members, future members. And our chamber advisor rep is one of our best ambassadors. Cindy's down for anything. She brings cookies and breath mints, and she wants to talk to everybody, because I do think it's about that marketing drip, right? You can't tell people just once. You have to tell them probably 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I always say it's kind of like a gym. People might join the chamber for the treadmill, and then figure out you have step classes, and that step class is the insurance program, and so they may not realize it right away, but eventually it comes to them.
Well, the timing on it is important. Or for example, a benefit plan can be interesting to people, and you can talk to them and convince them that it's interesting. However, they might not be ready for it for 6 months. They may not need it themselves because they have a one-person business and their spouse is a teacher and they have an amazing plan. But all of a sudden they hire 2 people, and now they have to get a plan. And so there's lots of factors that go into it. Or for example, they have a current plan with one of the other benefit carriers, and they're not really ready to do something until the renewal, because of the renewal, that's when the rates are going up 35%, and that's the time that they're prepared to make a decision, and that could be 10 months down the road. So it's a matter of, you're right, of just, I think being in front of them and, making sure that, our name, our company, and ultimately the plan is, top of mind when they are thinking of making a move and a decision on it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Nyla, if someone hasn't really endorsed the chamber group insurance plan at their chamber all that well, and you have the opportunity to tell them how great it is, how much it's transformed your chamber because you're making buckets of money now, and really showcase what a wonderful program it is. What would you share with them to encourage them to probably exercise that program a bit more and show off to benefit their chamber?
Yeah, I think talking about just like the non-dues revenue and then potential that can create for our community. Well, I mentioned the kind of the co-working space. We've been able to use that, and then that's bringing other non-dues revenue in. Like we rent that out. We do punch passes for people that are working remote, and then that's creating more sustainable revenue for our chamber. That's not event revenue. Yeah, I think like it's been transformational for us to really change the narrative of what our chamber has been, because it's like I said, it's just been this event.
Yeah.
And now it's, and that's great, but it doesn't meet all the needs of our membership. So really it's I would say lean into it, market it, sell it, have your team behind it, and it really, like, it just opened up a world of opportunities for us, and to kind of set us into the right direction for growth, and really without it, I mean, just like France, like it's a large percent, significant, well, not, I wouldn't say significant, but it's a good chunk of our operating revenue, and without it, I don't think we would be able to do a lot of the things that we do for our community. We're hustling hard every day, but this does kind of cushion the pot a little bit to allow us to focus on some things that, might not be having a direct return on investment, but it's that slow burn kind of thing to get them engaged in the chamber. So we, lean into it, do it. It's been transformational for us.
I love that you've reinvested that into a program or a resource that, again, put on another layer of revenue. And benefit your
and it's been new, and it's we've been in this space for 2 years now, but we're in a shared space with our regional economic development agency and our CBDC, so our community business development group, and cohesively between the three of us, we're kind of a business supports organization, and then we tackle all the rentals in the back. So it really has opened doors for us, and it's just an added resource for our community that we wouldn't have been able to do without it.
Great work.
I made my own note just now. Thank you for sharing. the ideas. If you got, the ideas are exploding here. That's fantastic. Fran, you've taken your plan from one step to another. It's grown over the years. Again, like what's something that has caused all that success? What could you share with someone that maybe, if they don't know, they don't know, and what can get them going into that right direction and start building their plan?
Well, after chasing money, the other thing that keeps a chamber executive up at night is membership churn. And I would say that, having members on the chamber plan helps your retention numbers tremendously. Because sometimes it's hard to determine what value the member sees in the membership, right? It depends on, are they an event person? What is it that they see? But the group benefit plan, that is, you can touch that, you can see it.
Yeah.
And it's easier to translate what the value of it is. And so members maintain their membership, with regards to maintaining their benefits. I mean, it just happened last week. We had a member who did not want to renew their membership. And so we explained that, membership was part of the the group's benefit plan that they benefited from, and they're like, well, no, we don't want the chamber membership any longer. And so then that's when we get on the phone with Doug's team and they're like, we got this, don't worry. And the membership was saved, right? So, I don't try to sell the group's benefit plan. I don't try to sell benefits. That's not what I do. So when we get to that point, that's where I'm like, okay, I bring in somebody from Doug's team to have that conversation. And this particular member, we rolled into so that his membership cost is rolled into his premium. So it's one payment for him, a lot easier for me. So it really reduces, the more members you can have on the group benefit plan, it really reduces membership churn.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well said. Yeah. And do you have a lot of members in that payment process?
Not as many as I'd like.
We just started doing it, and then because when we rejoined, there was about 60 members that were on our list for admin fees that weren't paying chamber members. So for us, not only was it growth and rejoining the plan, but it was that like we got 60 new members out of it. And a lot of them I think we've got probably 20-ish out of that 60 that are now on that monthly, and it's so much easier. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah.
Melanie, sorry, you just kind of went muted there because probably fit, but well done. Do you have a lot of members that are on that payment plan with your group?
Yeah, we have quite a chunk, which is great. The only thing I'll note is that for your accounting, you have to be very careful which bucket it goes into. Excuse me, but yeah, we really love that service for sure. Well, this has been so great. Steve, I think you have one more question for Doug, and then
yeah, we'll just wrap it up there. But like,
okay.
yeah, Doug, you can kind of close things out for us. But I would say for any member out there or any advisor that might be listening to this one too, because this is all about group plan. But when it comes to that relationship building, if it's not quite there, and they're needing to get that fresh start or re-spark things and grow, there's a lot of potential to be had across all jurisdictions. But like, what kind of tips or advice that would you have for some of those teams that might be in a little bit of a disconnect?
I guess my advice would be is to begin with ongoing and regular communication. And I think you have to build a good relationship. Like before COVID, people would meet regularly and have face-to-face time and and have lunch. And they had a business lunch yesterday. It was great. Like you're sitting down, you're eating lunch, and it used to happen a lot. Now it's less frequent, but I think that ongoing connection is important. So there's a level of trust that's created because obviously it's a win-win relationship. It's important that the chamber believes in the solution that they had. I've talked about that already. Some things that the plan has that are available for members. The core benefits now with flex benefit options such as a healthcare spending account and a lifestyle spending account that will pay for gym memberships and hockey equipment. There's lots of great things that the plan has. So I think it's important that the chamber representative has a working knowledge of that, believes in the solution, and then together create a game plan going forward and just be ultimately consistent with it. And if the advisors sometimes have a lot of hats to wear. They could own the company. They can be in benefits. They could have other things that they're doing. Chamber plans obviously are very important. And there I would say it's also important to have, as I mentioned before, have a really good team with you that can support you as the principal advisor, so that you're able to focus on relationship building and everything works together, because there's a lot to it if you want to be successful with it. And it takes a bit of time, but you have to begin ultimately somewhere, and then like I was saying before, your roadmap, a plan of communication, marketing initiatives, and stick to it. And then in a year, see how you've done and measure it. As France was saying, like create some measures and goal setting, which I think from a sales perspective is always important.
Well said. Perfect. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate your time being here. That was a lot. We dug kind of deep there into what it is with the group plan and the relationships and the non-dues revenues. That was tremendous. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And yeah, good luck out there. Keep selling that plan. Keep pushing it.
I took lots of notes. I have a plan of action. Let me tell you, Cindy's going to be busy next week.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. Okay, well, thanks everybody. Take care out there.
Have a
Nice.
great weekend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.